How to hey. So I'm doing a little more shadow work today. Gotta have the shadow line raised, but it's gotta be cooler than the warm shadow line that I laid down before. Kind of distinguish the vertical from the horizontal parts of the painting just a little bit better. I want a night. Got Kittle, Biddle, Tribble, Friddle, watching my videos in the morning. To coffee, good to you. Coffee with us, Pook. Um, today's painting, today's theme is, what could today's theme be on, if not shadow work? Now, I guess there's no forbidden topics, not really, but, I watched this Eric Orwell video where he was talking about Christ coming, meaning Christ consciousness coming back, getting people into a singular sort of vision about Christ consciousness and desiring a manifestation of Christ to reappear, as if the biblical notions must be correct. And on that video of his, good old Professor Anton, Corey Anton, remember Professor Anton the musical that I did? Checking my menus, checking my videos if you haven't seen Professor Anton the musical. Um, anyway, Professor Anton leaves a message. Read Robert Anton Wilson's Prometheus Rising, in which Anton proceeded to make a video about that. But what I thought was uncanny on Eric Orwell's video, that he wanted Eric Orwell to read that book specifically, I thought had to do with Eric's kind of proselytizing demeanor. Eric has kind of a way of proselytizing without maybe knowing it, or preaching without really knowing it, um, to a secular atheist community. They are probably immediately taken aback, but Anton's response, read Prometheus Rising, because Robert Anton Wilson speaks of reality tunnels, this would indicate that Corey Anton, is trying to get Eric Orwell to see his position more in terms of being a reality tunnel. And it's interesting to think of reality tunnels in and of themselves, but anyway, so that was just the point that something I found kind of peculiar, like what are Professor Anton's intentions of recommending that book to Eric? And then he did a wide-scale video just recommending the book in general. So I don't know, maybe Anton was just jumping the gun. He's just excited about the book and wants to share it with everybody. Well, but I thought it stemmed from a particular trying to get a point across to Eric Orwell about Eric talking about the coming of Christ. The coming of Christ. What that could mean. And from Eric Orwell's vantage point, it's almost a raw sincerity of not just becoming it in your mind, but actually fulfilling, prophetic ideas of becoming a Christ. Like that there'll be another Christ that shows up soon in some manifestation. And perhaps it's not even Eric Orwell believing in any form of reincarnation or locale of the previous Jesus, but more of a consciousness that appears in the world brand new, that is so similar to Christ's teachings that it's it's followed by masses, and it would be believed to be the Son of God. The Son of God. God. The Son of God. Hey, I'm going over to Eric's house. We're going to hang out with the Son of God. Anyway. But I read that book a long time ago, and I think I was 22 when I read it, and I agreed with it. I agreed with the concept of everybody's in their own headspace. I just called it headspace. But our adherence to our world is so dramatically different from person to person that it's hard to really get along with people that are so different than you that you think you would never really cross paths because you simply have too great a difference of tastes. Your tastes are too varied to ever really land in the same location, to ever really have a reason to find one another. Your tastes are too varied. Anyway, I'm not saying much in this video. Oh, check out my new fancy bionic neck brace. That's right, take that, Bionic Dance. I got a bionic neck brace. Not that Bionic Dance watches me. Oh no, she's really missing out too. Yeah, I was trying to think of a greater way to describe one's visceral connection to geometric shapes. And I realize that the geometry is based on kind of a full mental construct, an identification with, like if I say that I'm identifying with pentagrams, then that might mean that I'm thinking about them more, I'm intersecting the idea, I'm considering myself living in a space that could for all intents and purposes be outlined with a pentagram. Like some people, when you hand them a pencil and a paper and they're just doodling, they just draw pentagrams, they'll just draw stars, and it's so natural for those people. Some people do wavy lines and scribbles and whatnot. Anyway, let's see what I've got going on here. Yeah, you can see this secondary layer coming through in the back. I wanted to keep some of the red for the rock, but the whole thing's kind of got to be a brown. It's just gotta be a brown. Mr. Carter, it's just gotta. Alright. Hey, Mr. Carter. Ooh. Like, me and Winnie, we was thinking we'd go hang out at the chicken bars. Wait for Phil to get a Coca-Cola. It's my like one of the characters from Welcome Back, Kotter. As if it's like a blend. My imitation was like a blend of three of the characters. I have to watch the show again to figure out how to mimic it. Anyway, let's see, what do we have here? So I talked to a friend tonight who's having some relationship issues, and that sucked to hear. It sounded kind of bad. And she is grappling with how to keep her head afloat in the situation, it sounds like. Anyway, check out my painting. Look at my painting. I think I'm at the halfway point in the painting. I think there'll be like 100 videos, maybe a few more, maybe a few fewer. But yeah, I'm feeling like this might be a halfway point. Let's see, what can I do over here? Yep, I got a neck brace on, which is okay because I'm on muscle relaxants and painkillers right now. So I got rear-ended, totally got whiplash. Now my spine's already been broken 3 times in the past. I've broken vertebrae on 3 different occasions. And they were all lower than this. I've never had a neck injury. And so this, even though I didn't break any neck bones, seems like it's aggravating the other breaks a little bit more. So I got myself a nice bionic collar. But it doesn't really move, so I shouldn't call it bionic, unless you consider Velcro. Having Velcro is like being bionic. That's right. Having a little bit of Velcro is like bionic. Late September back in '63. Oh, what a lady, what a night. Oh, what a night. Late September in '63. Oh, what a sight to be. Oh, what a lady, what a night. Quack, 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 quack. Anyway. So, good old Object 99 doesn't sound like he's suicidal after all. I thought he might be dropping hints of that kind of momentum in his life, but it sounds like he's got a support group. Good damn thing. Good damn thing. Oh, yeah. Hopped up. Hopped up. I am hopped up. Hopped up. Okay, how do I do this? I've got two light sources and an ambient light source. Three light sources. Yeah. Gotta paint a little something in there. Then I gotta paint around all the fire. Do everything nice and tight. Do it the way it's supposed to be done. And totally lament the fact that I'm bit off more of a painting than I can chew. Well, I am chewing it, but it's taking a lot longer and causing me more distress than I had anticipated it would. I thought this sucker was just going to flow right out of me like water from a great fountain. Pepper spray. Okay, over here though it can get darker. Let's see. Yeah, these are kind of lit up caverns. And the thing is my hell it's just not that gory. You know, it's just a series of symbols. And there's nothing particularly magical about how any of the characters are built either, so I think, you know, it's kind of too easy listening. Like I moved too fast on it in the sketch stage, or I didn't slow down and re-edit before I started painting. I don't know, some of them are kind of nice, but I don't know. Mixing up foreground with background, putting an object that's closer to you behind something that's farther away. Okay, maybe that has two light sources on it, or I guess it has three also. It's this pipe that I've got sticking out here that I've got to deal with. Yeah, I've totally blocked in the colors. Now I've got to block them in more. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep doing it until it's done. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Hey, Kit Kat. Yeah, kitty. You must be hot as I am. It's burning up here. We got into the 90s today. Anyway, how to speak about your most fantastic self. Neck problem. Neck problem. Oh. Yeah, so anyway, I feel like Mr. Glass in that Unbreakable movie by Samuel L. Jackson. Should rent that movie again. That kind of shows a binary, which is kind of like a geometry, a binary between good and bad, placed at an ideal end of the spectrum where the min themselves function as the point of opposition. I mean, and so that would be a binary, and then you take like Spider-Man versus all of his villains, and that might make a like a pyramid that's like an octagon, a nine-sided pyramid. What would you call that? What do you call a nine-sided pyramid? One lady, one man. Ba, 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 ba. Let's see. Boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, boom. Boom, ba, boom, 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 boom. I'm going out for a drink with a guy that manages a concert venue in Salt Lake, so I can sell my art to the public. Oh yeah, got to get on that bandwagon. Got to do it as much as I can. As much as I can. Ugh. See, I can bend my neck back, twist it side to side, and bend it back, but when I move it forward, then it hurts. Stretched out some ligaments. Okay, let me paint something a little bit different because I'm losing sight on my general shadows here. And got some black that needs to be put in on this devil. So I met this woman and we were talking about Satan and Lucifer, and she's like, well, why would you say Satan and Lucifer? They're the same thing. And I said, well, certainly Satan and Lucifer are two different entities. You know, they're two different gods. Or, you know, maybe one is the other. I am of the camp that they're two different entities. And then I was like, okay, here's the devil, and here's Lucifer right there in the chair, and this guy up here, the one I'm painting on, is the devil. So it'd be like saying that the devil and Satan are not the same thing, and I can see somebody that's fixated on the idea of all of them being the same thing, not liking to categorize them differently, as if there's no lingual homogenation, you know, homogeneity, homos. Oh yeah, and the guy's a homo. The guy's a gay guy who runs this. Like that mattered, but since I said homogeneity, I thought I'd use the word some more. I just saw X-Men, Days of Future Past, and I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. It was entertaining and just, what was I going to say? Just that I like the plot line of it, but yeah, no buts, no buts. I'm not going to say that. Gotta watch my mouth. Okay, so I've got this little game here on fire, and that's light source number 2. Got this light source down here. The things should be getting browner as they get closer to the top of this painting. So, let's see how to do this. That's enough. Oh, yeah. So, anyway, kind of like Wolverine, the Red Devil guy, and the blue monster, blue X-Men man, Beast. They're all kind of derivative of the same sort of hulkish guy, and yet they're all 3 different, so they all have 3 different attributes. So she asked, what's the difference between Satan and Lucifer? And I said Lucifer is more of a conjuring sort of entity that keeps you down when you're already down. And Satan, he's the great trickster. He's the one that fools you and wars and bets on your soul. Lucifer is more an overhanging harbinger, kind of like Baphomet. Lucifer is more like Baphomet, more of an icon. There's an icon of darkness or evil that comes along with Baphomet. Oh, God, it just keeps dawning on me how much labor I'm going to be placing into this. And I'm sounding like I'm whining, like, man, is DOS Poop whining? Yeah, I'm whining. Yep, I'm whining about it. Alright, let's just get some of this in over here. Doing a little thing that's off the canvas where you can see it. Where you cannot see it, there it is. I keep wanting to get my oils and break them out and start painting in oils. But the longer I can stay with acrylic, the longer I'm going to do so. So, trying to think of a whole pantheon of gods that concurrently exist and infiltrate, they live on the other side of physics. So, it's kind of the authentic notion of what a metaphysic is an alternate physics that lives through our physics. It's like matter that's coherent, that's at a different vibrational state, that can move angularly through our space and be completely invisible to one another, or they can be visible in certain cases. And so trying to think about a literal sense of the term metaphysic. And what that means to have a religion built around people that have either witnessed it or people who believe it. But as far as saying that this other side belongs to a Christian God, I would say that Christ is probably as much on the other side as anything else, unless you need him more. Then you're compelled to focus on certain gods in this reality tunnel, if you will. In this reality tunnel, there's more people focusing on Islam and Christianity than Wicca. And so it kind of makes Wicca seem inappropriate, but some people turn to Wicca Some people just believe in Wicca. They turn to Wicca. They move in that direction. They hunt it. They hunt the ideas that are involved in it. I don't know, I used to do palmistry and read tarot and guess people's horoscope, and I felt like I was appropriately trained in that field by living on Venice Beach. And some people wanted me to do a tarot deck, and I just, nah, I don't want to do no tarot deck. I mean, I'd think about it every now and again, but for the most part, it was like, no, a tarot deck. You know, not unless like this painting, I can do the whole tarot deck in one painting. And you just have one big card, just flip the card over. Even though I do have a hangman right here. Wah, wah, wah. But the funny thing about my art is that my art is for me strictly. It's one of the most narcissistic art patternings. It's not commercial in its orientation or bend, and it's not particularly catered to enticing anybody else. It's my baby. My baby. It's my baby. And I don't want nothing messing with my baby. You understand me? You understand me, boy? Damn. Getting an awful mess going on here. Okay, well this video might last a bit longer than I thought it would. I've been watching some of Laura Lea's videos also lately, and they're so easy listening, it's kind of cool, you know. Meaning I shouldn't say the content is, but the display of the videos is easy listening. That, what was it, Lazorte or something like that, Lazort. Someplace you must have gone on vacation to that you really enjoyed. Who else's videos have I been watching lately? Piro's, I watch about half as many Emendem videos as I used to. I did a month ago. Maybe I have a real catchy title these days to be worth the while. I'm just kind of done with Emendem and the whole camp. It's just a bunch of reiterative, self-collapsing argumentation. He doesn't want to look at my exceptional exceptions and grant them any validity because they're not in agreement with them. Because you just can't argue against the imposition argument. You just can't do it. But what do you know? I guess in his mind, you can't do it successfully. You just can't do it successfully. Okay, inside of this devil's head box, it's kind of finally nice to get the darks in here. The whole thing needs to be darkened. So people often ask me, Mark, why do you paint such goofy shit? And I say, because I wanna. And that's the meaning of it. There we go. Okay. Kind of stripped it of dimension a little bit, but just to start. Okay. Okay. What do I got here? What I got? Yeah. I should do some shadow on this guy. Um, a story. So I got rear-ended. Yep, I got rear-ended, and I was I was cruising to the swim pool, and I pulled up next to this car with these three completely gray people, all wearing T-shirts and ball caps. The men were, and the woman was wearing kind of a pastel shirt, and they were all gray. They were all in their probably mid-60s, and they were smoking, and their car it must have been built in the 70s, something like that. And I was thinking, man, these guys got a lot, hanging out with each other, cruising at that age, smoking cigarettes, throwing caution to the wind. They were kind of chuckling, hanging out, and I kind of thought, like, wow, that's kind of the way I wouldn't mind being when I was that age. But they looked over at me, and my car was a little bit more modern than theirs, and here I am with a beard, and they had scruff, and one of them had a beard. But they kind of looked at me almost like we didn't do enough to become wealthier and own materially a car as nice as yours, is what I was in my mind. That's what their quick glance nod was about. Something like that. Almost like they felt bad being as poor as they were, assuming that in fact that they are poor, which is a whole other thing, but that was the assumption. And so I'm sitting there feeling all of this, and within 5 minutes I'm rear-ended, and I pull up behind a car, and I stop, and I just look in my rear view mirror, and I see these two faces just with their mouths agape. Huh? And then I'm like, oh shit, and bam, there it goes, it hit me. And I just flopped forward, flopped back, and there was just that bing going on in my head. And I just unzipped my seat belt, or unclicked it, and I just fell out of the car onto the ground and laid on my back and just sat there until I could hear the ambulance coming. And then I just had to see who was all involved in the wreck. Even though the guy in front of me is like, they're like, are you hurt? And they're like, no, I'm not, but that guy is. But I stood up on my own, and it's the same thing I did when I broke my feet. I stood up on them anyway. So here I am with a sprained neck, and I just get up and I look at the car in front of me, and I realize that they have two little kids in it. And then I look at the bumper, and the kids are fine, no one's crying, no one's upset, and I look at the bumper, and there's no dents between my car and the car in front. I just barely tapped them. But then I look at the truck, the pickup truck that hit me from behind, and it had smashed my bumper and it had smashed my hatchback in. They had to get their truck towed. I had to get my car towed, but I went away in the ambulance. I let them sort it all out. And hell, that was yesterday, and that sucked shit, spending 9 hours in the emergency room. And I don't know. All I got was this lousy plastic hand bracelet with some Q codes on it. And so today, it looked as if this truck owner didn't have any insurance, and I only have liability on my car, and so I got really nervous that since they would be uninsured, I would have to pay for all the repairs to my car, which would have totally screwed me financially for some time. And it turns out they do have insurance, though, so everything's kind of going along, putting along, except for the hit aggravated my previous brakes. That makes them more sore. Kind of loosens up the back, but it makes them more sore. Anyway, so that's what happened to me yesterday, and today just kind of got a bug to paint a little. Just gotta do it. Gotta somehow hammer this thing out. Bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. So I think I'll call this one Painting and Ramble. I'll still underscore it. I don't have anything particularly philosophical to discuss. Besides just trying to think of this idea of a reality tunnel being your individuation, all, the totality of your being all brought into one. And that once you're caught in your tunnel, it's really hard to break out of it, I would imagine, because everything is kind of nice and ordered in it. That's why I'm an advocate of disorder and deconstruction processes, is to have you skip frames, flip your own script. Go insane in the membrane. It's insane, that's the membrane. Insane in the membrane. Got no brain that'll bring the dang dang. Scooby-Doo bop, doo-boo-ba-da bop. Okay, that woman's on fire, so she's putting off a little bit. I've got 2 more fires up there, so I'm not certain what I'm going to do with those. And I've got to paint all of this dirt on this side, but it's so far away that from the light source that it should probably be extra dark. So I'll focus on extra dark. Might as well. Give this some side-to-side balance finally. Some side-to-side asymmetry. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I read Robert Anton Wilson's Quantum Psychology, and I thought that was kind of interesting because he was talking about um, if you get four people together, one of them might appear to be a little more crazy than the other three, and he was balancing craziness with reason. That if you get around a crazy person, all you have to do is act more crazy than they do, and they'll become more reasonable than they previously were. At least that was his theory as he laid it out, and vice versa. So you get three people getting really serious, then one of them becomes more of a laugh track for the other ones, somebody to unwind the other ones. Personality, and then if you get three really happy-go-lucky people together, and then you bring in a fourth, the fourth is often really rational and kind of more deadpan and serious, and this happens at a certain number of people. When you get a certain number, then it balances a specific way. And I guess that numerology, if it was four people and a 3-to-1 ratio, then that would be like a pyramid, like 3 points and another point, an opposite point, and that would be a type of geometry that one could envision themselves living in. And if one envisions themselves living in a geometry, then they can make associations and relationships to geometry in a greater abstract sense, and place meaning on it. Everything seems as if there's got to be a retention of meaning. There can be decoherence of meaning, but there's got to be a retention of it. Anyway, what am I talking about? What the hell am I even talking about? Why am I doing this? Why am I making a stinking video? I just wanted to paint some shadows. Do I have to make a video just because I'm painting some shadows? Oh, God. Oh. I think I have one of the more unique spines. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would rather take my breaks than have spinal bifida, but this is still a pretty bad series of injuries. But it just keeps on reinforcing the idea that I am a breakable being. But I'm not a negative being because I'm breakable. Or hell, maybe I am. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Where are we here? Almost 50 minutes. Holy cow, where are we hour-wise? Okay, so I am going to take another pill. Because the feet burn at night, and the spine hurts in the day. And as I walk and as I talk, it sucks all the way. It's an ouchie, ouchie life. It's pain, Lots of strife. I wear a wife beater, but I ain't got no wife. So I went on a date with this woman. By the way, I'm not shaving until my abstracts are accepted by my clients. Anyway, so I went on this date with this woman, and I started dumping story after story on her about seeing orbs and stars and ghosts and Jacob's ladders and so forth. And she just outrightly accepts it as, well, everybody knows, well, not everybody knows it, but more like people have these experiences all the time, but they don't talk about them because they don't want the society to think that they're crazy. So she was taught just to keep it under wraps. But she said, yeah, I've seen Satan and I've seen Jesus, and my aunt came and sat at the end of my bed when I was 6 years old and talked with me after she passed. And so what's kind of funny is that she thinks that my experiences are occult-oriented and dark because I use pentagrams or hexagrams or some sort of ritualistic, geometric thinking about things in kind of a holographic sort of way. She thinks that's part of the Illuminati. And the Illuminati is evil because it's part of what Satan does. Well, she's a Mormon woman. And I said, well, the Masons in the Illuminati are bedfellows, and the Mormons and the Masons are bedfellows. And the temple down here has pentagrams on it. She's like, oh, I didn't know that. Show them to me. So I think we're going to show it to her so she doesn't freak out so much. Anyway, my cat's sneezing. It's kind of warm in the house, and I've never had a cat during hot months in my condo, so I'm a little bit concerned about, leaving the door open, leaving the fan on. I don't want to have to leave the cooler on, but I guess I'll have to at times. Huh. Anyway, I think that's about it. I think I've rambled enough. I think I'll ease into some more YouTubing and sit back in my chair and look at the little amount that I got done and see what the next step might be. Sure, moving slightly on this piece. Thanks for all you who keep tuning in just to listen to me say not too particularly interesting stuff, I don't think. Maybe you guys find it interesting. Who knows? Who knows? At least you're watching, so I guess you find it interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of just want to knock things out of my way, get shit done. Knock things out of my way and get shit done. Bum, bum.